Yes, so good morning, students. So I think we have already started with what we call it as classical search, or what we call it as uh, beyond classical search. So we have started both of them. Now, when we talk about classical search, we are talking about a situation. So classical search, okay, whenever a word is a classical search is there, it simply just wants to tell us that there will be an initial state and there will be a straightforward solution to the goal state. So that's what we saw and understand in many of the searching mechanisms also. And then what we understood in our previous session was that there will be times where there is not a straightforward path or a solution to from an initial state towards the goal state. Maybe because the observations are not clear, maybe because the environment is not deterministic, something like that. Okay, so that is the concept of what we call it as beyond classical search, wherein the searching mechanism does not execute the same way which we have learned into our most of the searching algorithms, right? This search will probably get execute in a scenario when environments are going to be different, or probably when the observations by the agent to the environment also differ. So this is a scenario where basically we go into a situation which is called as beyond classical search. Now, today our focus will be on two things. That is, we'll see searching with observations and searching with partially observable problems. Now, before that, we have already seen that how we search when there are no observations, and how search mechanism also executes when we are talking about what we call it as and non-deterministic actions. Okay, so or what we can say partially observable environment or non-deterministic environment. So we're going to continue with how searching will execute when observations are already there, and what how searching will execute when we have partially observable problems. So when you talk about partially observable problems, the scenario will be almost most of similar to the case where you're talking about partially observable environment or something like that, right? Uh, Also, there is one more scenario which we are going to see into the next session, but we'll just discuss about it. Uh, so, uh, uh, in beyond classical search, one more kind of search will be there, which is known as online searching agents. Okay, most of the searching techniques that we have seen till now focuses on what we call it. We have to start with an initial state and we reach towards a goal state. It is something like that. But when we saw examples of different types of agents, if we just recall that what were the types of agents available, so it was something like simple reflex agent, and then model based agent, and then goal based agent. So whatever our search mechanisms that we have talked till now focuses on probably these kind of agents, maybe either simple reflexed or model based, or what we call it as a goal based. But then there was one more category which was known as utility based agents, and we saw that how the online search agents are actually acting as utility agents, because for them there is actually nothing like goal state, but rather than they just decide how happy they are in in a particular state, and onto that happiness factor actually they decide which next state to perform. So that is where a totally different kind of searching mechanism is there. There is nothing like a straightforward path or a solution which actually starts from the goal state to which actually starts from an initial state to goal state. Yeah, but definitely there can be sub goals. Definitely the cost of path. So some of the objectives that we study, that if we want to solve a search problem, then actions are important, then goal test is important, then path cost is important. So that things will definitely be also important over there. It shouldn't happen that the search executes for a longer period of time, okay, or the search should take long period of time, though it is focusing on a different perspective. But the point is that they will not at all execute, or the search in an online search will not at all execute in the same fashion which happens to most of the offline problems. So let's say if we talk about offline problems, so some gaming applications, let's say, or let's say if we talk about a vacuum cleaner agent, something like that, so that will differ. So that is the last part which we will see into our next session. Okay, so if we talk about what are the components of beyond classical search, so beyond classical search basically will talk about how we can search in non-deterministic scenarios, how we can search when there are no observations, and we have seen when there are no observations how critical rather than critical, how we can say difficult it becomes to search. The reason is that because there are so many states, and we are not clear about which state to go, which action to take, and whether it is right or wrong, we are not at all aware about of it. And it might happen that we may reach to a certain action after maybe we may reach to a certain state after 10 actions, and we may reach to the same state after 2 actions also, because everything is totally unobserved. Okay, also the goal test becomes difficult over there. So that's what we have seen. Okay, and so that searching in non-deterministic scenario, when there are no observations, searching with observations, and searching with partially observable problems. Okay, these all are certain kinds of, we can say, searching techniques which comes into beyond classical search. One thing which we have to understand is that there will be certain problems whose whatever possibilities are there can be decided quite earlier. Okay, so let's say if you talk about an 8 puzzle game, and let's say the AI agent has to solve an 8 puzzle game. Okay, so we know that there will be a 3 by 3 kind of matrix, and one block will be empty, and rest some shuffled numbers will be there, and then we have to um, keep on we can say keep on shifting the blank blocks so that we can have a proper arrangement. Now if we look to this kind of problem, okay, so over here actually percepts are actually not at all important, right? Or which means even it will not go in searching with no observation, because it doesn't require any observation. Okay, so that there is a state that everything is given, and probably it can understand its state space, or it can navigate to its state space very clearly, because everything is clear. So that kind of search can definitely go into any of the search algorithms that we have already talked before. Okay, because percepts do not play important role over there. Another situation would be, let's say percepts are playing important role over there. So let's say if we talk about a tic-tac-toe game, then even in tic-tac-toe game, percepts in the sense we have to just understand what move the opponent has taken, and just and that also even before the move is not taken, the possibilities are already existing that the move can be any of this. So something which is, the percepts are well known, or it is clear that something or a possibility like this only can happen. Okay, so that is about one kind of problem. Another kind of problem, if we call about a vacuum cleaner agent, then it becomes very important for a vacuum cleaner agent to know what is there into the environment, because if it doesn't know, then even if it is having a state space, the state space or the search in the state space is totally irrelevant, because it doesn't know only what to do, because the whole working of the agent is actually depending on the percepts, or what we call it as observations. So this is how depending on what kind of agent is of course most of the agents can definitely work with what we call it as an initial state, and a search could keep on progressing towards the goal state. But for many of the agents, okay, the agents which actually work into live scenarios, the percepts will be important, and after taking the percepts again, they can actually search using some of the classical algorithms, classical search mechanisms that we already know, so that the search after even taking the percept becomes much more optimal. So that's where the scenarios of beyond classical search goes. So when you talk about beyond classical search, there is nothing like there are different algorithms working over there, but the point is only that if the scenario is like this, rather than what we call it as an initial state and a goal state. One thing which I think the word which we saw in our session was about something like contingency plan actually plays an important role over there. So it's all about a strategy. It's all about a strategy that what if this percept is received, what has to be done, okay, and what part of the state space has to be searched. And if we understood what part of state space has to be searched, then in that what searching mechanism we have to use. It is something like that. Okay, so that's what happens basically when we talk about beyond classical search. Okay, so fine, so let's start with searching with observations. I think fine, this is very easy, right? Okay, so for a general partially observable problem, need to specify how the environment generates percepts for the agents encapsulated in the function percept of state. So there are two cases. Okay, so probably let's say if you talk about an environment, okay, which is generally partially observable, okay, which means on in most of the cases it is observable, and it becomes unobservable also in certain times. Okay, but percept is very important when you talk about a partially observable environment. Now there are two special cases into it. Special cases in the sense that one is something like partially observable. Of course, the what we call it as the percepts are very important. Okay, and depending on the percept, the states will be identified. Now one side of it, or we can say 100% positive aspect of it will be that percept of S is equals to S, which means each and every percept is known, and each and every percept is able to understand in which state is. So that will go for fully observable environments. And percept of S equals to null, which means it is not able to understand any percept. Okay, and that's why it is not able to decide in which state it has to go, so it will be null for sensorless problems. So the second scenario we have already seen, that percept of S equals to null. And also we have seen that why percepts are very important when we talk about a partially observable problem, right? Because it will help them to narrow down the state space, because once the percept is known, we know that in which specific part of the state space we have to actually execute our search mechanism. Okay, so now this is just an example of a vacuum cleaner problem which we have already seen. Okay, so certain states are just being shown to here, that let's say if you're in state 1 where the vacuum cleaner is, let's say, on the left position, the dirt is also there into the left position, and the dirt is also there into the right position. Okay, and then it actually gives you another state, and likewise. Okay, so now what we see, that if let's say we are the percept, if we are talking about percept 1, so what is percept 1? Percept 1 is trying to tell us that A is dirty. Okay, we know that in vacuum cleaner problem, this is A and this is B. Okay, so we have got we have got these kind of percepts. So now once we have got these kind of percept, okay, what are the possibilities, what we could do? Okay, so these when we are having observations, okay, we can decide our actions on the basis of the percept, and we can actually take certain so that will come with the possibilities into the state space. Okay, so that something like this will happen. So it might serve because it is dirty, and then A block will be clean, or it will go to the B block, something like that. Okay, so these things will basically happen when you talk about searching with observations. Fine. So let's say the first percept is A is dirty. Okay, so do right. In deterministic environment, percept reduce the size of the belief space. In non-deterministic environments, okay, belief state may become larger. So if you receive the percept, then uh, if the environment is deterministic, you will be actually able to understand what steps you have to follow. But if the environment is non-deterministic, then probably you have multiple options. Okay, so that's what actually is shown over here. What is shown over here is that there are, if environment is non-deterministic, then multiple options can come. Okay, so yeah, what is being shown over here is that that let's say coming into a scenario like this. Okay, so there are, let's say, two states being shown over here, and from two states, okay, these are the possibilities, that either from this state it can go to this state, and from this state it can go to this state. and again from this state only this state. And so what we see over here is that when your environment is being observed, when your environment is deterministic, you have only certain amount of states from the state space which will come after the state. Whereas if the environment is non-deterministic, in that case the probabilities of the states will keep on increasing. So either you can go to this, okay, or you can go to this. So that's what we are trying to tell over here, that if there is a deterministic environment, the percepts will actually help you to reduce the size of the belief set. Once you receive a percept, once you receive that this is the percept, okay, then probably the next states which can be there after this state can be less from a whole set of your state space. But if the environment is non-deterministic, then the belief states are going to be much more larger. Fine. So now when we talk about let's say partially observable problems, okay, now what are partially observable problems? So partially observable problems are something wherein you are not having, let's say, complete information about the percept. So now if you are not having complete information about the percept, there can be multiple things which can be happening, right? Okay. So in that scenario, we use something which is known as, and or search. Okay. So what we see over here is nothing but, let's say, a graph, and in this graph what we see that at multiple places we see that some goal states are achieved. Okay, so a goal state is achieved over here, a goal state is achieved over here, a goal state is achieved over here, depending upon, of course, what are the actions that we take. Okay, so what we see over here is that let's say a scenario where dirt is there into A block and B block also. Okay, and if we perform a suck action into the A block, okay, so now a suck action is being performed into the A block. Okay, so of course it will basically it will result into this situation where just B block is having now what we call it as the dirt. Okay, and now what we see is that even if the suck will be performed into that block itself, then the goal state will be something like this. So what we see is that if an operation is performed, okay, into an and scenario and or scenario, how it will happen. So whether if both the conditions are matched, okay, and what if, okay, any one condition is met. So if any one condition is matched, it will be in a certain scenario. If both the conditions are matched, it will be into certain scenario. So that's where and or search will be. So basically it is something like let's say you have an initial state, and from initial state there are three possibilities. Now what if you combine two possibilities. Okay, you say that I'm going to consider both of these possibilities. Okay, then what is going to happen? And if you say I'm going to consider any one of these possibilities, okay, so then what's going to happen? So that's where what we say the idea of partially observable problems lie, and that's where the idea of using and or search will be there. Okay, so now if we talk about and or search, or if we talk about a partially observable problem, solution is a subtree that has a goal node at every leaf. Okay, so probably at every leaf. Okay, so this is probably a leaf node, and there is a goal state over here. Okay, this is a leaf node, and there is a goal state over here, and this is a leaf node, and there is a goal state over here. Specifies one action at each or node. Okay, so at each or node one action is being specified. Okay, so if we talk about these nodes, okay, these nodes are acting as odd or nodes. Okay, and an action is being specified over here. So if we see the action over here is suck, if we see the action over here is right. Okay, if we again see the action over here is suck, right, the action over here is left, the action over here is suck. Okay, so that's how the action over here is suck, the action over here is left. Fine. Includes every outcome branch at each end node. Okay, so wherever it will be ending, okay, it will actually produce an outcome. So after performing these actions, okay, so it will be either this or this, and then what actually action after after taking every action, to which basically state it will come, that it is going to specify. Okay, so includes every outcome branch at each AND node. Okay, so which means after every OR operation there will be an AND which will come into the picture, which will just tell us that this is the particular outcome of these action that was just taken previously. Okay, so that is about what we call it as an AND OR search. Okay, and that is basically used when we talk about partially observable problems. So now what is the strategy if we talk about partially observable problems? The solution to a problem will be a conditional plan rather than a sequence. So the whole solution will basically be a plan. Okay, so if this then this and else this, if this then this, else this. Okay, so that's how basically it will happen. If the first step is and if the first step is what we call it as if then else expression. Okay, if the first step is an if then else expression, the agent will need to test the condition in the if part and execute the then part or the else part. Okay, so what will happen is it is going to test the condition, and then according to the condition, the if part or means if this. Okay, so if this is the condition, then it will execute the then part, or it is going to execute the else part which is written. The agent will need to maintain the belief states as it performs its actions and receives the percepts. Okay, so every time whatever new states are actually coming, just 1 second, yeah, every time the new states which are coming to the agent, okay, so it has to maintain those belief states, and using those belief states it has to go ahead. So that is how the situation will happen, what we call it an end to a partially observable problems. Okay, so because they are partially observable problems, a particular percept will be received at a time. Okay, once the particular percept is received, okay, it will be identified, and what to do into this percept. So a condition will execute. Okay, so if this is the percept, okay, then if the percept is true, okay, then these will be the states, else these will be the states. Okay, so depending on what is the information about the percept, either the if part will execute or the else part will execute. So there will be always two scenarios, whether this percept is there or this percept is not there. If that percept is there, then whatever we can say then part will be written, or whatever states will be there into then part will actually come into the picture, and they will start navigating into the graphs, or another stage will start navigating into the graphs, and these will continue on and on. So there will be one direction which will be followed. Okay, and simultaneously there will be another direction which can also be followed, depending on which are the scenarios which either your if condition or else condition is trying to give you. Okay, so fine. So students, this is about what we call it as solving partially observable problems. So what we see is that if we talk about a scenario wherein the whole searching mechanisms are depending on to the observations. Okay, every observation is actually trying to help us to decide that which part of the state space we have to follow. So either, even if it is completely observable, definitely the whole part of the state space will be drastically reduced down. If let's say the percepts that we are getting are partially observable, then the possibilities of searching will be bit more than a completely observable environment, and that's how it grows. And if it is completely not observable, then the possibilities of searching becomes extremely high. So that is where the difference lies between what we call it as an environment which is having a complete observation, and partially observation, and no observation. So these are the three basic scenarios in which searching can happen, and then it can go beyond a classical search, because every time the role of percepts is playing place. Okay, so if it is completely observable, it becomes very easy from a state space to understand and identify that which part of the action or which part of the action or which part of the state we have to navigate, because percepts are known. So the chances of selecting the states will drastically reduce, because there will be less number of possibilities which we have to navigate, because we have understood the percept. So either from there, okay, we can go to something one or something two. And going forward, let's say if it is so this is about a case where things are completely observed. If we go into a partially observable problem, then in partially observable problem, so what will happen is either it can go to this or this, and afterwards, let's say it is possible that two states, if there is a possibility that these or these state is there, then combinedly it can actually come up with another state also. So then if it is a partially observable problem, it will try to follow a strategy of if and else and if and else condition, and that's how it will again try to reduce the search into its state space by understanding the percepts which it is receiving. So it will come with some states as an output, and then it will see what is the new percept that is being received, and it will try to club them and come up with some of the states ahead. So that's how it will go. And let's say if it is completely non-observed, then we have seen that it has to actually randomly go to any of the actions that is available to it, and any of the random actions can search any of the states into the state space. So in that case, definitely, because goal state is something which will be not observed, so in a non-observable environment, the agent can run only for a particular period of time, and after that particular period of time, basically it will be tested whether what the agent has done, how many states it has searched, and what actions it has taken, something like that. So that will basically go into a scenario where we are trying to solve something, or we are trying to search something which is in a completely non-observable mode. Okay. So yes, students, okay, these was about what we call it as solving in partially observable problems. Okay, so what we saw today is that how we can search in observation scenario, and how we can search in a scenario which is partially observable. And as I already told you, the next part of it, okay, or the last part of it will be searching into what we call it as an scenario which is an online search. Because even if you talk about online search, okay, there is something which is very important, or which is very crucial to your searching mechanism, and that's why it cannot just start with an initial state and progress towards a goal state, which is something which will be defined. Because what exactly will be the goal state, or what exactly will be the action, will depend upon sequence of things which comes into the picture when the agent executes itself into an online search environment. Okay, so that is the next thing that we have to see when we talk about beyond classical search. So that will be the next part of what we call it as beyond classical search. Okay, so yeah, so for today we just end over here. Okay, we have seen with how searching with observations and partially observable environment take place. Okay, so yeah, thank you all of you.